And this is where I will also talk about the FM idea, but one
Yes.
thing I can vouch for is you were always entrepreneurial in nature, right? I mean,
We should come back to that because I never thought of myself as entrepreneurial ever.
I could see that. I mean, any idea that probably used to discuss, you were always very excited in sort of discussing that and chalo ye karte hain. That
Yes.
was your attitude, and
Yeah,
it
but I
wasn't.
always thought of that as like the engineer or the science lover in me being interested in that. In my mind, entrepreneurship was always about being a business lover. And I never thought of myself as a business lover. I always thought of myself as a science lover. So,
Yeah.
which is why I never thought like entrepreneurship was a thing for me.
So then take us through this decision. You were doing very well in Hitachi. You were a director of engineering,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so very good job, and I'm
Right.
sure it must be paying well too, right? And you were growing. So then to take this risk, right?
Right.
You're saying you were good with the engineering side of things, and you were always
Right.
interested in that, but the business side of things and
Right.
really worrying about making money and
Yes.
people and
Yeah.
paying your employees, that wasn't really something you had thought about, right?
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah. So I think taking a step back, so in 2015, Hitachi launched an Internet of Things division. And we had to write like the software for that Internet of Things division. And by that time, I think at Hitachi, I'd done like sort of 3 projects, which were almost from a blank sheet of paper. So I think one thing was clear to me that I love this whole blank sheet of paper, which is kind of what you're saying too, right? Like, new idea, blank sheet of paper. That has always excited me. So I remember like joking with my boss, who's my partner at this time, saying we should do our own startup, right? We love like new ideas and stuff. And I think he had said like it's very, very hard when you don't have the money to build a company on an idea and stuff, right? So that was sort of put on the back burner. Again, my career, the way I'd imagined it at that point of time was like do well in corporate, become like a vice president of something, something, and sort of, that would be my ceiling, is how I'd imagined it. Around 2018, what happened was Hitachi started making a lot of changes in what their IoT strategy was, which sort of wasn't really aligned with any one of us. And at that time, so my boss, Rich, who's my partner now, he said, I'm thinking of doing a startup. Would you be interested? And I think he reached out to a few other people. And I said, oh, okay, cool idea. I'd actually applied to Amazon at that time. I think I had also had an offer. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Amazon. Um, but I think a huge part of this is my husband. So my husband, and I think going back, so my dad always joined BHL, retired in BHL. Everybody in my family was sort of, work in a company, retire in a company, corporate, that's pretty much been the thing. My husband actually comes from a business family where everybody is, they're doing like land deals or they have like a tiny little factory or things like nothing big, but, they have whatever, small businesses all the time. So he has an itch. Like, so he's always like, he was constantly always talking to his friends about like, let's do this, so let's do that. So when this happened, when Rich reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to do this with us? I think there was 2 parts to it. For me personally, I think it was the risk of it, the excitement of the risk of it, right? Which I think that's been a thing that I'm excited by. I like a little bit of calculated risk is something I definitely like. The other part of it was my husband was as equally or even more excited about it, right? So when you have somebody in your house who's like, go do this, like go do this is the perfect time to do it. And his reasoning was like, having an idea, having a team, having people who want to work with you. And we had worked enough that we knew that we at least had a year or 2 of financial flexibility, that if one of us did not work, we could still pay our bills. Early on in our career, I don't think that would have been possible, particularly being here in the US. But yeah, by the time we'd worked for 10 years, so we felt like we could take that risk. So I think it was a combination of all of that. But if you were to ask me personally, uh, I've always wanted to test myself, right? So coming to masters was a test. Can I survive this, right? And I think masters I barely survived. But like, the job or moving to Seattle or taking a new role, there's always been this like, okay, I'm doing well here, but what if I tried this? Maybe like, I'll really fail at that. So there is the excitement and the testing part of it, which I don't know, it just maybe is me, which sort of I think drove me to that. But having said that, at that time, other than the fact that this was a new thing, again, this is now that I'm talking to, I feel like this is the pattern of my life. Like coming to the US, I had no idea. Going to an IT, I had no idea what I'm signing up for. Starting with a startup, I had no idea what I'm signing up for. But I feel like when you're taking a risk, it has to be like that. If you know everything about it, there is so much to it which can go wrong that you will never be able to take that risk. And I was listening to a podcast today where they said, like, for engineers or lawyers or any of these people, it's hard to take risks because our training is all about, preventing bugs, preventing issues, preventing all of that. So we overthink everything. So when it comes to taking risks, it's hard because you're going to think through everything that can go wrong. And then you're going to be like, it's not worth it. Like, why would I even take the risk?
Yeah, that's deep, that's profound. Do send me that podcast.
I will, yeah.